The sun was just beginning to cast its warm, golden light over the sleepy neighborhood of Willow Creek, a pristine suburban enclave where the hedges were trimmed to perfection, driveways gleamed with pressure-washed pride, and homeowner association rules were enforced with the ferocity of ancient law. On Aspen Loop, the most coveted cul-de-sac of the neighborhood, silence was considered sacred. Noise, especially the chaotic joy of children, was treated as a crime. At the center of this quiet empire lived Karen Dalrymple, a retired school administrator with a stacked bob haircut, oversized sunglasses, and a clipboard that might as well have been a sheriff's badge. She was the self-appointed enforcer of peace and order. Her kingdom was a shrine of manicured flower beds, ceramic wind chimes, and quiet zone signs that weren't HOA sanctioned, but everyone knew better than to remove them. Karen's life revolved around three things: HOA regulations, herbal tea, and her morning patrols. On one particular Tuesday morning in June, as birds chirped softly and sprinklers hissed in choreographed unison, she heard something that made her drop her mug of chamomile. Laughter. Not just any laughter, high-pitched, unfiltered, childlike giggles echoing through the street like a curse. Her heels clicked furiously across her driveway as she pinpointed the source. At the end of the cul-de-sac, three kids were chasing each other, weaving between camera tripods, prop boxes, and a woman with a clipboard who wasn't her. A tall man with a headset called out, "Quiet on set!" But the children ignored him, bursting into another fit of squeals as they collapsed on the grass. Karen stormed over like a squall. Excuse me, who authorized this chaos?" The clipboard woman turned around, puzzled. "Oh, hi there. Sorry if it's a bit noisy. We're just filming a scene." "Filming?" Karen spat the word like it was a disease. "This is a private neighborhood. You can't just bring in lights and cameras and children screaming." One of the boys stood up and pointed at her. "That's the lady from the picture," he said with glee. A nervous laugh escaped the woman. "He means you're, part of the script inspiration, sort of." Karen's eyebrows arched with suspicion. "Script? What script?" Before the woman could answer, a man approached, early 30s, lean, wearing sneakers that looked too expensive to touch pavement. He extended a hand. "Hi, I'm Jalen. We're producing a show for Netflix. Working title's Quiet Street. Kind of a dark comedy based on suburban life. We've got all the permits and HOA approval. You must be Karen Dalrymple, right?" Her blood turned to ice. "How do you know my name?" "We were briefed," she said quickly, flashing a diplomatic smile. "Your neighborhood is famous. Or, it will be." And just like that, her rage turned into something deeper, older. Dread. Something was happening here that she couldn't control. By noon, the street was bustling with trailers, sound engineers, and kids running lines. A faux mail truck had been parked on her side of the road. Karen marched to the HOA office and slamming her hand on the counter until the board intern finally checked the forms. Yes, the production had approval. Yes, they were allowed to film. Yes, even on her street. "No one told me," she hissed. "They didn't need to," the intern replied. "You're not on the board anymore." That line echoed in her mind for hours. Karen hadn't realized she'd been quietly removed from the HOA board months ago. She'd taken a temporary step back due to complaints, absurd allegations, she insisted, of overreach and intimidation. She'd assumed they'd beg her to return. But they hadn't. The insult was deep, but the humiliation of children filming in her sanctuary was worse. So Karen did what she did best. She retaliated. First came the anonymous noise complaints, filed every half hour like clockwork. Then she reported unauthorized vehicle parking. Next, she called animal control on a prop dog that wasn't even real.
She even faked a neck injury when a dolly track was laid 2 inches onto her lawn.
None of it worked. The production team seemed immune. Every time she called city officials, they reminded her the permits were valid. Every letter she sent was met with polite, empty apologies. Then, the flyers began to appear. It started with one taped to her mailbox, a grainy black and white image of a woman scowling behind a curtain, holding binoculars. Beneath it, in bold Comic Sans, the real queen of Willow Creek, coming soon to Netflix. Karen tore it down in fury. The next day, 10 more showed up on lampposts, mailboxes, and even stapled to her prized magnolia. When she stormed over to confront the film crew again, they shrugged. "Must have been one of the kids," Jalen said with a smirk. "You know how creative they are." Karen returned home and locked all her doors. The neighborhood was turning into a circus, and she was the unwilling star. The tipping point came 1 week later when she opened her mailbox and found an invitation. Thick cardstock, gold embossing. It read, "Willow Creek Netflix Launch Party, VIPs only," featuring cast members and residents who inspired the show. Special tribute, Karen's Kingdom, a parody short. She dropped it like it was burning her fingers. "Parody?" she whispered. That night she didn't sleep. The next morning, she drafted a cease and desist letter so scathing it made her palms sweat. She sent it to Netflix, the HOA, and the mayor's office. She threatened lawsuits, boycotts, and media exposure. When no one replied, she showed up to the set wearing a GoPro and started live streaming herself, accusing the crew of defamation and harassment. Viewers in the comments weren't sympathetic. Karen Cotton 4K. "This is really the inspiration. This is gold." The stream went viral. She became a meme before she even knew what that meant. And all the while, the children kept laughing, playing, running lines, and filming her. Because she wasn't just an obstacle, she was the plot. The night of the Netflix launch party arrived like a tidal wave she could not outrun. Karen watched from behind her blackout curtains, eyes narrowed to slits, as a parade of unfamiliar cars lined the cul-de-sac. People in sleek black suits and sparkling cocktail dresses strolled up the red carpet. Yes, they had the audacity to lay a real one across her street. A spotlight bathed Aspen Loop in white, dancing against the sky like it was Hollywood Boulevard. Camera drones hovered. A jazz trio played near the HOA welcome sign. Laughter and champagne flutes clinked where there used to be peace and quiet. She grit her teeth so hard, her jaw popped. Across the street, her neighbor, Mrs. Langford, who had once refused to participate in HOA bake sales on principle, was now sipping Prosecco and posing for pictures with one of the child actors. Even George, the 78-year-old widower who used to glare at squirrels, was standing near a catering table eating shrimp skewers with a goofy grin.
Traitors. Every last one of them. Karen grabbed her binoculars and zeroed in on the party tent. A banner hung across the top. Quiet Street, based on true, ridiculous events. She nearly choked. And then, beneath it, in smaller letters, special screening, Karen's Kingdom, the short film that started it all. Her fingers trembled. She hadn't realized they were actually airing it. She thought it was a joke. Then she saw them, a crowd gathering around a projector screen. She ran to the other window for a better view. There she was, on film. Or rather, an actress playing her, but the resemblance was brutal. The same sharp haircut, same shrill voice, same pearl-studded cardigan. They'd nailed the posture, the clipped tone, the way she scolded the kids with her arms folded like a prison warden. They even had a fake clipboard and the same quiet zone signs. The audience roared with laughter. She could hear them through the glass. The camera zoomed in on Karen yelling at a group of kids playing hopscotch.
Suddenly, one of them pulled off a mask, revealing a hidden microphone. The actress Karen froze, then turned to see a boom mic rising behind her and a crew applauding. The scene cut to her running down the street in slow motion, shouting, "I'll report all of you," while a pop remix of Flight of the Valkyries played. The laughter was deafening. Her blood turned to fire. She stormed outside in her robe and slippers, phone clutched in one hand, keys in the other. As she crossed her lawn and stepped directly onto the red carpet, heads turned. Someone shouted, "She's here!" A hush fell. For a brief moment, it was like a court gathering for judgment. Phones were raised. Cameras zoomed. A live stream began. Karen stood in the center of the crowd, illuminated by LED lights and cell phones. Jalen appeared from the back of the crowd, walking up to her slowly. "I'm shutting this down," Karen announced, her voice sharp with wrath. "You people have invaded my life, mocked me, exploited my image without permission. I am calling my attorney, and you will all regret this." Jalen didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled calmly and said, "Actually, you signed a location release form 2 months ago." She blinked. "What?" He pulled out a laminated copy and handed it to her. It was her signature. Unmistakable. Her name, her house, her front lawn. "This was when we asked to use the neighborhood for B-roll shots. You signed off. That includes the sidewalk interactions and background footage. Anything visible from public property, fair use." But I didn't know what you were filming." "You didn't ask." Behind him, someone said, "Damn!" A ripple of laughter passed through the crowd. Her face paled, then reddened. She turned in a circle and saw faces, smirking, amused, smug. "You're all laughing at me," she said low. "We're watching the show you helped inspire. You're practically a co-star." The cruelty of it hit like a slap. They didn't just use her image, they turned her into a character, an archetype, a joke. Her life had become entertainment. She turned and stormed back to her house, tripping over a light cable on the way. Cameras followed her every step. That would become the most replayed moment in the show's trailer. Over the next week, things only got worse. The show dropped on Netflix. Episode 1 trended globally. Quiet Street was described as a brilliant satire of suburban tyranny and the love child of Desperate Housewives and The Office. But it was the character of Karen, not even renamed, that stole the spotlight. The internet exploded. Memes, clips, GIFs, side-by-side comparisons of real Karen and show Karen. Reaction videos dissected her every gesture. TikTok trends began with "act like Karen for a day." Her name became a punchline. People drove through Willow Creek just to take selfies near her mailbox. Kids left plastic flamingos on her lawn as offerings. Tour buses rerouted to include Aspen Loop as a stop. Karen tried to hide, but the world had already moved in. Local reporters came knocking. A documentary crew pitched a follow-up. Even SNL parodied her. She tried suing. No one took it seriously. When she filed a formal complaint with Netflix's legal team, they responded with a gift basket and a note. "Thanks for the inspiration. Hope you enjoyed the spotlight." The basket included chamomile tea, her own brand of torture. But what truly broke her wasn't the laughter, it was the silence. Because one morning, she woke up, and it was gone. The crew packed up. The trailers left. The lights were off. The kids were back in school. The neighbors no longer cared about her tantrums. Her 15 minutes had passed, and now no one feared her. No one flinched when she walked by. Her power had evaporated. She walked the cul-de-sac with no clipboard. No one said hello. For the first time in 30 years, she was just another resident. Just Karen. And as she stood by her window, watching the world go on without her, a new sign appeared on her lawn. No one admitted to placing it. It simply materialized, staked in the grass, bold and unflinching. Filming may resume at any time. Live your best life. Below it, in smaller letters, thank you for being a part of Quiet Street. The laughter echoed still, in every screen, every stream, in every meme. And Karen, once the queen of silence, could do nothing but listen.